بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected friends, continuing our discussions of fiqh, in particular we're talking about cleanliness. We had already discussed the aspects of water, we had discussed the aspects pertaining to wudu as well as that of ghusl. Today I want to introduce to you another concept called tayammum. Now what is tayammum? Tayammum firstly has been legislated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran Kareem, Surah An-Nisa, verse 43. What is the meaning of tayammum? It is طهارة ترابية تشتمل على مسح الوجه واليدين مع المرفقين بسعيد مطهر مع النية. It is cleansing in a way that sand is being used and a person will wipe the face and the hands including the elbows, obviously with the intention of attaining the ritual state of purity. Now there are certain conditions pertaining to the validity of tayammum. Scholars say that لا يصح التيمم إلا إذا اجتمعت ثمانية شروط. The tayammum will not be valid unless 8 conditions are found. So a person cannot just jump to tayammum, if they have the ability to perform wudu or ghusl. Nonetheless, number one, shartul awal, the first condition is an-niyyah, intention. Why? فلا يصح التيمم بدون النية. Tayammum will not be valid without having intention. Wudu, ghusl will be valid without having intention, though it is sunnah, it is better to have the intention. But tayammum is not valid unless a person has intention. The second condition that the author talks about, or the scholars talk about, is أن يوجد عذر من الأعذار التي تبيح التيمم, that a person has a valid excuse to take to tayammum. So a person cannot just to achieve ritual purity perform tayammum. There has to be a valid excuse to actually be doing tayammum. So we have wudu and ghusl, which are uh, the primary ways of achieving um, ritual purity. And tayammum is actually the substitute when those cannot be performed. So just to give you some examples of what constitutes a valid excuse. The scholars talk about كون الماء بعيدا عنه مسيرة ميل أو أكثر, where a person cannot get water within a particular radius. The water is very far, it is more than 1 shar'i mile or more away. The second one would be, or another example of a valid excuse would be where يغلب على ظنه أو أخبره طبيب مسلم حاذق أنه لو استعمل الماء حدث له مرض. That if a person uses water, and this is according to their discretion, that if they're going to use water, or a reliable Muslim doctor who is credible, has religious integrity, informs a person that if you're going to use water, it's going to really and severely affect your health. Or is dada maradu, or you are already sick, and by you using water, it's going to increase your illness, going to make your condition worse. أو تأخر شفاؤه من المرض, or if you use water, it's going to delay your recovery. So these are valid excuses to not use water, not perform wudu, not perform ghusl, but rather to perform tayammum. How will tayammum be performed? We will discuss that at a later stage. We're just looking currently at or what constitutes valid excuses to perform tayammum. Another one would be that يغلب على ظنه أنه لو استعمل الماء البارد هلك, that the person only has very, very cold water that is available, and by using such cold water, it is definitely going to harm them. Another one would be يخاف العطش على نفسه أو على غيره إذا كان الماء قليلا. A person just has sufficient water and they need that water for drinking purposes, because if they don't drink, they're going to suffer. So that water, do they use it for wudu? Do they use it for drinking? They will use it for drinking because to protect their life, and in that case, they can then perform tayammum. Right? If there's obviously sufficient water to get a sip or two here and quench the thirst, and there's leftover where even just the fard of wudu can be performed, then wudu will be performed, not tayammum. Another one would be that لا توجد آلة يخرج بها الماء كالدلو والرشاء. That a person, maybe there is water, but it's in a well, but there's no way of drawing water from the well, then to a person can perform tayammum. Another one would be where إذا غلب على ظنه أنه لو اشتغل بالوضوء فاتته صلاة العيدين أو صلاة الجنازة لأن هذه الصلوات لا تقضى. A person comes late for the Eid Salah or for a Janazah Salah, and if they are going to perform wudu, they're going to miss the Eid Salah, they're going to miss the Janazah Salah. In that case, they will quickly perform Tayammum and will join the congregation. Why? Because Eid Salah is not something that you can make qada of later on. Once it's gone, it's gone. Janazah Salah, likewise, once the Janazah Salah is performed, it's performed. You cannot go on your own and perform it. You cannot, set up a second Jama'ah. You cannot make qada of it. It's gone. The Janazah Salah is finished. So if you find yourself in that predicament, where if you're going to make wudu, you're going to miss the janazah salah or the Eid salah, just make tayammum and carry on. The author then talks about a third, or the scholars talk about a third condition for the validity of tayammum. So we said the first condition was that the tayammum, a person has to have niyyah, the intention of performing tayammum. Number two, a valid excuse to actually perform tayammum. Number three, أن يكون التيمم بشيء طاهر من جنس الأرض كالتراب. The person will perform tayammum using a pure substance from the earth. For example, like sand, stone, etc. The fourth condition is that أن يمسح جميع الوجه واليدين مع المرفقين. The person wipes the entire face and hands, including the elbows, hands, the forearms, including the elbows. That's another condition for tayammum to be valid. Number five, the fifth condition is that أن يمسح بجميع اليد أو بأكثرها. The person will wipe the face, the entire arms by using the palms, and the palms of the hands should be entirely covered with the earthly substance like sand and stone, as we mentioned. You strike your palms on there, or at least most of it, and a person will wipe the entire face, the entire arms with the hand or most of the hand. That's actually the fifth condition, sorry. That a person will wipe the entire face and both arms up to and including the elbows using the hand or at least most of the hand. Because if a person just uses two fingers to wipe the face or to wipe the arms, that will not suffice. The sixth condition is أن يمسح بضربتين بباطن الكفين, that a person will make masah of the face, will wipe the face, will wipe the arms, but it will be done with two strikes. A person will have to take the hand and strike the sand or strike that stone with the inner or with the palms. And after the first strike, a person will wipe the face. After the second strike, the person will wipe over the arms. So those two strikes are necessary, even if a person is striking on the same spot where the sand is or the same stone, etc. The seventh condition is لا يوجد شيء يكون حائلا بين المسح والبشرة كالشمع والشحم فلا بد من إزالة هذه الأشياء قبل المسح وإلا فلا يصح التيمم. There shouldn't be any barrier between um, the wiping of whatever substance is now picked up on your hand, the dust, etc. There shouldn't be any barrier between, uh, making masa and the skin that you're making masa on. For instance, maybe sometimes a person eats brine meat or what we call meat that is cooked on a barbecue, and we find it creates this fatty film on the hands. If that is the case, that will have to be removed first, and then masa will be performed. And the eighth condition is ألا يوجد شيء يمنع صحة التيمم كالحيض والنفاس والحدث. There shouldn't be anything that will sort of prevent the validity of tayammum, meaning that there shouldn't be something that would break wudu or invalidate wudu or ghusl whilst making tayammum. So these are some of the conditions for the validity of tayammum. Inshallah, in our next lesson, we'll talk about the basic requirements for a valid tayammum as well as the Sunnah acts of Tayammum, how to go about performing Tayammum, and what invalidates or what nullifies the tayammum. So inshallah we'll continue in our next lesson. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.